On this Monday night, Canadian officials are on their way to Washington trying to save NAFTA. This after the United States and Mexico reached their own trade deal. And Donald Trump suggests the North American deal is dead again. So now where does that leave this country and the thousands of Canadian jobs on the line?
Also tonight, with legal pot on the horizon, we discover an unexpected side effect of marijuana. Emergency room visits are spiking.
And Sean Majumder speaks out about his dismissal from 22 Minutes, what it means for him and the show that's been running for a quarter century. This is The National.
The president has threatened to get rid of NAFTA before, but now a preliminary trade deal between the U.S. and Mexico has ratcheted up the pressure on Canada and made that possibility real. The U.S. president says a trilateral arrangement is possible, but not without major concessions from Canada. Katie Simpson takes a look at that deal and what happens next.
The president is on the phone.
In a sign of how quickly it all came together.
Okay. Yeah, you can hook him up. You tell me when.
Donald Trump hastily announced the breakthrough with Mexico's president joining in by speakerphone.
We're going to call it the United States-Mexico Trade Agreement. We'll get rid of the name NAFTA. It has a bad connotation.
Trump says he's ready to kill the original NAFTA in favor of this new deal, and it will be up to Canada to join that pact.
If they'd like to negotiate fairly, we'll do that. You know, they have tariffs of almost 300% on some of our dairy products, so we can't have that. We're not going to stand for that. I think with Canada, frankly, the easiest thing we can do is to tariff their cars coming in.
The preliminary agreement changes rules for the auto sector, mostly by raising wage and labor standards in Mexico. Nearly half of all vehicle content would have to be built by workers earning at least $16 an hour, and 75% of that would need to be built in either the U.S. or Mexico. The U.S. is also compromising on the Sunset Clause, replacing the deal-killing provision with a review.
Canada will resume negotiations tomorrow when Minister Freeland returns to Washington. We have our positions, and we will always argue our positions so that we have a good deal for Canada.
The Foreign Affairs Minister is cutting short a work trip to Europe to lead the Canadian delegation. It has been sitting on the sidelines for more than a month while the U.S. and Mexico talked through their differences.
With all our efforts, 24/7, to promote that Canada continues to be a part of these agreements.
Mexico is insisting Canada remain in the pact, but with the U.S. and Mexico already on the same page, it will likely be difficult for Canada re-entering the talks.
I think they definitely have to play catch-up. They have to play catch-up on a number of key issues.
That apparent game of catch-up is already underway. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau spoke with President Trump by phone this afternoon ahead of the restart of talks tomorrow.
Okay, so both Mexico and the U.S. are pushing to try and get a preliminary three-way deal done by Friday, which seems fast to me. What are the chances of that, Katie?
It's going to take a lot of work, Rosie. Canada right now has two real sticking points. One is the Sunset Clause, and we already know there's been some compromise there. The other is Canada wants a strong dispute resolution system, and it's unclear where that stands right now. But one other thing that's important to remember here is that Canada said it was sitting on the sidelines for the last 5 weeks because the U.S. and Mexico were working out bilateral issues. Clearly, these discussions have been far more broad, so Canada could be in for even more surprises when those formal talks get back underway with Canada again tomorrow.
Okay, we'll find out then. Thank you, Katie. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Keep in mind the deal with Mexico isn't done yet, but during the announcement, Trump didn't really frame it that way. So let's take a closer look at some of the claims the president made from the Oval Office.
It's a very comprehensive agreement. So, Enrique, I will see you soon. I think we're going to have a very formal ceremony.
The president might be getting ahead of himself a bit. Trump can't just sign a deal with Mexico. NAFTA was approved by the U.S. Congress in '93, so any changes to the agreement, including the president's newest deal with Mexico, will require congressional approval. Today, many leading Republicans cautiously welcome Trump's announcement while making it clear that they won't embrace a NAFTA 2.0 that leaves out Canada.
This is one of the largest trade deals ever made, maybe the largest trade deal ever made.
Not true. NAFTA, as it currently stands, is bigger than a deal between just the U.S. and Mexico. And then there's this easily debunked claim.
As far as Canada is concerned, we haven't started with Canada yet.
Okay, we're ready to go.
Canada has been at the negotiating table ever since trade talks kicked off a year ago this month. And Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland herself has traveled extensively between Ottawa, Washington, and Mexico City.
We are actually working on cutting tariffs.
In fact, President Trump and Prime Minister Trudeau have spoken at least 13 times in the last year, and they've talked about trade and NAFTA, almost everyone.
We're starting negotiations with Canada pretty much immediately. I can't tell you where those negotiations are gone. It's going to be it's a smaller segment. As you know, Mexico's a very large trading partner.
That's not true either. Canada is America's second largest trading partner, only behind China. Mexico is actually third. Last year alone, U.S. trade with Canada totaled $50 billion more than U.S. trade with Mexico. No surprise then, tens of thousands of jobs in Canada depend on NAFTA. You probably know that. So we asked Diane Buckner to check in and see how businesses here are reacting to Trump's assertion that NAFTA could be replaced.
The Armstrong family has been running this dairy farm since 1828. Nowadays, though, Philip Armstrong is well aware his industry has become a target during trade talks.
We know President Trump has kind of singled us out, even though they have a major surplus with us. They see us as the problem, even though the facts say we're not the problem. That is a big issue.
Today's announcement of an agreement between Mexico and the U.S. certainly puts pressure on Canada, and there was another threat of auto tariffs today. Flavio Volpe represents 200 of those companies. He started working the phones as soon as he heard the news.
I just called to see, ask the Mexicans if what we were listening to was hard negotiating rhetoric or whether something material happened on the ground.
His contacts reassured him.
They told me they're committed to a three-party agreement and three-party negotiations and looking forward to Canada coming back to the table.
The Auto Workers Union says it's delighted to hear that the new U.S.-Mexican agreement would guarantee higher wages for Mexican workers, an indication the U.S. wants to level the playing field.
The problem with Canada and the United States were the low wages of Mexico. So I'm a lot more comfortable today than I have been over the last 24 years, to be candid with you.
But until a comprehensive deal is done, a lot of industries could still be targeted by Trump.
I think we have to give him some kind of a win on something that he wants to give a win to.
This trade lawyer says a sacrifice will have to be made somewhere.
Canada has to find something to give Trump, right? And that's hard. The Mexicans have obviously swallowed hard to give him something on labor.
At the Armstrong family farm,
we are very concerned that we could be used as a bargaining chip. We've had 6 generations. My son has a young 1-year-old now, and we're hoping the opportunity is there so that in the future that he can continue to dairy farm and to farm in this community.
Canadian negotiators did give away 3% of the dairy market to get the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal done. Dairy farmers hope they don't have to take the brunt again. Diane Buckner, CBC.
Here's what else we're working on tonight on The National. Just weeks before pot is legalized, new numbers reveal a spike in Canadians turning up in the ER. Why edibles might be to blame.
Plus, Sean Majumdar is speaking out about why he's leaving 22 Minutes and says it wasn't his decision.
But first, the American flag and the thorn in Trump's side that just wouldn't go away. The White House faced biting criticism for raising that flag this morning, less than 2 days after the death of John McCain. He was a man regarded by many as an American hero, but President Donald Trump came under personal attack for his response, or lack of it. The condemnation was relentless, and as Keith Bogue reports, appears to have struck a nerve.
Through most of the day, the White House flew the Stars and Stripes as usual, while elsewhere in the Capitol and across the country, flags were at half-mast.
Mr. President, do you have any thoughts on John McCain? Thank you.
Trump refused to say a word about John McCain when asked to at 3 different photo opportunities throughout the day.
Mr. President, any thoughts on John McCain, sir?
Thank you. The disparagement of McCain has a long history. In 2015, Trump dismissed the Vietnam War veteran's heroic reputation as undeserved.
He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
When McCain cast the deciding vote against the repeal of Obamacare last year, the president's belittling of him became an obsession.
And except for one senator who came into a room at 3 o'clock in the morning and went like that, we would have had health care too. We would have had health care too.
But in a farewell letter read by his former campaign strategist, McCain seemed to fire back to directly address Trump's America.
We weaken our greatness when we confuse our patriotism with tribal rivalries that have sown resentment and hatred and violence in all the corners of the globe. We weaken it when we hide behind walls rather than tear them down.
Trump's refusal to acknowledge McCain's service to country only made him an easier target for his political enemies.
And particularly at a time like this, losing a hero, you ought to be appreciative, you ought to be humble, you ought to be trying to bring the nation together instead of dividing us.
Suddenly there were signs Trump had been chastened by the onslaught of criticism. His daughter Ivanka spoke of McCain as
an American patriot who served our country with distinction for more than 6 decades.
Just before 4 o'clock this afternoon, the president capitulated. The flag came down, and Trump allowed the release of a statement his staff had crafted on the weekend. Despite our differences on politics and policy, it said, I respect John McCain's service to our country. Keith Bogue, CBC News, Washington.
Now, Trump's change of heart aside, John McCain did have one more message for the president. He's asked specifically that Trump not take part in his funeral. Vice President Mike Pence will be there instead. McCain's body will lie in state in the Arizona Capitol on Wednesday. Then he'll be taken to Washington to lie in state in the U.S. Capitol building on Friday, with a memorial service taking place on Saturday at Washington's National Cathedral before McCain is finally laid to rest Sunday in the Naval Academy Cemetery in Annapolis, Maryland. Now, it's only after that the decision about who fills McCain's Senate seat will happen. And the man who has to make that call, Arizona's Republican Governor Doug Ducey. Whoever he chooses will serve at least 2 years in office until the election in 2020. And there's no shortage of candidates, former lawmakers, state officials, even McCain's widow, Cindy McCain, has been mentioned. One of the big questions Ducey will have to grapple with is whether to choose someone with the same mindset, the same kind of independence McCain was famous for, or does he choose someone who will more consistently back Trump? It's a critical choice because Republicans have a narrow 51-49 majority in the Senate, and it's about to decide whether to confirm Trump's nominee for the Supreme Court, which is another choice that will have consequences for years.
To a looming political issue on this side of the border, with legal pot due in just over 7 weeks, CBC News has uncovered a disturbing trend. Emergency room visits are on the rise from marijuana overdoses. Katie Nicholson shows us how one form of the drug is causing problems, and spoiler alert, it doesn't mix well with booze.
After 15 years pulling pints at this blues bar, Neil McIntosh thought he knew what to expect from this usually older crowd.
Sounds good.
So when one man in his late 50s stood up and promptly collapsed in front of the stage, he assumed the worst.
You see this scene, you're like, oh God, okay, instantly 911.
Turns out it wasn't a heart attack or a stroke. It was something else entirely.
The paramedics came and it was assessed that, he had eaten an edible and just couldn't handle it.
McIntosh says it's the 3rd time it's happened this year. Toronto emergency physician Dr. Michael Szabo says he's also seeing more cannabis-related emergencies.
We're seeing a lot of people out there who are accidentally ingesting huge amounts of cannabis. And they're not realizing that what they're taking in is excessive.
New numbers provided to CBC News by the Canadian Institute for Health Information show Canadians are increasingly ending up in emergency rooms because of cannabis-related poisoning or overdoses. Over 3 years, the number of visits has nearly tripled in Ontario and nearly doubled in Alberta.
It shows the increase in ER visits
Dr. Szabo knew the numbers were high, but not this high.
So your first thought when you saw that?
I'm pretty shocked that it's that, it's gone up that much. And then I definitely think that those numbers will go up even more.
So how much of a burden on resources is that?
Well, it's a huge burden. They're occupying beds, they're occupying nursing time.
From what he's seen, cannabis edibles are a big part of the problem. They're widely available, but Health Canada confirms they won't be legalized until sometime in the next year, which means they won't be regulated.
I would have liked to have seen public health messaging starting as soon as the bill passed, if not sooner than that.
The Canadian Public Health Association says a quarter of 15 to 24-year-olds are already using cannabis products. But people of all ages would benefit from strong provincial public health campaigns.
For people who perhaps consumed cannabis in their teens, 20 or 30 years ago, they're going to find that cannabis is a very different product today. It may be a much more potent product.
So you put the fat in here, pack this guy with your cannabis of choice.
Chef Charlotte Langley uses this machine to make cannabis-infused cooking oils. It allows her to control dosages down to the teaspoon.
I highly recommend starting light. There's no need to overindulge. It's meant to be gentle.
She has basic advice to anyone cooking with cannabis.
Know where it's coming from, research the strains, find out exactly what's going on with those strains, and then ease your way into trying small quantities.
Age and health and...
Back at the Blues Bar, Neil McIntosh is concerned bar servers aren't getting any guidance like they do for alcohol.
I'd like to see a little bit of support from the agencies that tell us to manage alcohol and manage people's experience with substances. I'd like to see them reiterate that there's a responsibility of the patron to take care of themselves.
Until then, he fears people are going to learn the hard way, like the man who collapsed in front of the band that night.
So, Katie, what are we looking for? What are these symptoms of cannabis poisoning?
Well, they actually mimic a heart attack. So you're looking for rapid breathing, you're looking for elevated blood pressure and a rapid heart rate. In some cases, you're looking at vomiting. And then there's the psychological symptoms. You want to make sure that somebody is present, that they're not breaking with reality or that they're paranoid or exhibiting anxiety, because that's when someone could actually self-harm if they're very psychologically affected.
Okay, so it's terrifying. What are you supposed to do if either you think you've overdosed or someone with you is overdosing?
Well, Dr. Szabo says, make sure if you're going to take any of these products for the first time, tell people what you're doing and make sure somebody is watching you. And then make sure they're watching for those physical symptoms and those psychological symptoms that you're not going to harm yourself. If you start to exhibit these symptoms that are very serious, that's when you need to go to the hospital, especially if you have an underlying health condition, a heart condition where that rapid heartbeat and those other symptoms could actually end up in a heart attack situation.
Okay. Katie Nicholson, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Now let's get you up to speed on some of the other stories we are following tonight, starting with a damning report from UN investigators on the Rohingya crisis.
The main perpetrator of the serious human rights violations is the Myanmar military. Responsibility starts at the top. We believe that these individuals must be investigated and prosecuted for the crimes committed in Myanmar.
Gang rapes and mass killings of Rohingya Muslims. The UN team presenting evidence today say at least 10,000 people were killed in the brutal crackdown, and it's called out 6 senior military figures who it wants to put on trial for genocide and war crimes. The UN Security Council could refer the matter to the International Criminal Court, but for that to work, China does need to be on board, and in the past, it's backed Myanmar's government. That's the man accused of killing 4 people, including 2 police officers. Matthew Vincent Raymond made his first court appearance today in Fredericton, facing 4 counts of first-degree murder for a deadly shooting spree earlier this month. His lawyer said today that Raymond is in shock and plans to plead not guilty.
The suspect clearly targeted other gamers who were in a back room of Chicago Pizza participating in this gaming tournament.
And police speaking about yesterday's deadly shooting at a video game tournament in Florida. The motive for the attack still unclear, but we're slowly learning more about the suspect, 24-year-old David Katz. According to the Associated Press, he was hospitalized in the past for mental illness. 2 people were killed in the shooting. Police say the gunman then killed himself.
Still to come on The National, she is the first Canadian to win an LPGA title on home soil in 45 years. A little later, I talked to Brooke Henderson about how she fell in love with golf and the secret behind her grip.
Plus, Colorado was the first U.S. state to legalize recreational cannabis. So why is the black market there still booming? We'll revisit its lessons for Canada.
And Newfoundland comedian Sean Majumder is out at 22 minutes.
Here's a guy at the peak of his comedy powers. There's very, very few Sean Majumders out there.
First off, let's get the term straight. Impeachment is commonly misunderstood to mean the removal of a president from office, but it's actually the process, not the result. So, how hard is it to impeach a president? Pretty hard, and that's by design. So, how does it happen? First, a sitting president needs to be formally accused of something seriously shady. In the Constitution, that's treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. Next, the House of Representatives drafts and debates the charges and evidence, known as the Articles of Impeachment, and if a majority of the House votes to accept the case, the president is impeached. Now, stuff gets real, with a high-profile trial in the Senate. The president retains his or her own lawyers, the House Judiciary Committee acts as the prosecution, the Senate is the jury, there are witnesses and cross-examinations, and the whole thing is presided over by the Chief Justice of the United States. Sound like an episode of Law & Order? While impeachment proceedings may feel like a criminal trial, it's purely political. A conviction here won't land you in jail, but if 2/3 of senators decide, you will be kicked out of office with no appeal. Here's a trivia fun fact. No U.S. president has ever been removed from office via impeachment. Wait, you say? What about this guy, and this guy? Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton were impeached but were acquitted by the Senate. And Nixon, he resigned before it could happen. Side note, impeachment is not just for presidents. The U.S. House has also impeached 19 individuals, 15 federal judges, and 1 cabinet member. To summarize, impeachment is the political process of removing from office certain public officers accused of wrongdoing. The House impeaches, and the Senate conducts the trial. But if House representatives are in sync with voters, they're also going to take a good hard look at popular opinion before setting things in motion. Remember, a ton of people voted the president in.
Hey, I'm Raj Binder, and I'm here at the Roar of the Rings Curling Bonspiel Tournament Matchup Game competition. And you know, I've covered so many things: football, hockey, Indonesian cobra fighting. But this game of curling, I don't get it at all.
It seems 22 Minutes has no more time for Sean Majumder and his characters. Yesterday, we learned the popular cast member was leaving the CBC's long-running parody show. But today, Majumder explained he was dismissed over creative differences. So what happened? And what does it mean for 22 Minutes? The CBC's Tashana Reid has the details.
Canada, you know I love you so much.
For 15 years, Sean Majumder has been making us laugh on This Hour Has 22 Minutes.
This poor lady has been on the ice for hours with nothing to eat, no shelter. Why the hell do you do this?
The news he would not return to the show came as a surprise. This morning, the comedian cleared the air. Unfortunately, due to creative differences between the Halifax producers and myself, the decision for my departure was not mine. Majumder revealed he was left blindsided when he was let go in June.
I'll be honest, it kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't feel like that was the conversation I was going to have.
DHX Media, the company that produces 22 Minutes, hasn't responded to our request for an interview and aren't saying why Majumder was dismissed. CBC released a statement, part of it saying this: Sean made a huge contribution to the success of the program, but after a great run, CBC and DHX Media decided to go in a different direction. Majumder says he'd been trying to get the show to push boundaries and take risks, even writing a letter to his bosses shortly before he was dismissed.
I felt that our show could be even better, and by including the cast and including the writers a lot more, making it more of a collaborative effort.
TV critics like Bill Briot are wondering what Majumder's absence will do for the ratings.
There's very, very few Sean Majumders out there. He kills and sells out. He's very, very funny. I don't know anybody else who does both stand-up and sketch as well, and those are two very separate disciplines.
Still funnier.
Still, he points out the show has survived major moves like this one.
No one's irreplaceable, you know, and there have been folks on 22 Minutes, Rick Mercer, the most famous example, who have left, and the show has done very, very well.
On Twitter, Mark Critch wished his pal the best. I can't wait to see what he does next because nobody breaks me up more.
It's really great to see all the love and the support that not only fans across Canada have for 22 Minutes, but also for me.
Is very nervous.
Majumder says the hardest part of all of this, saying goodbye to the cast and crew. But he's excited for what's next. Tashana Reed, CBC News, Toronto.
Still ahead, more of John McCain's final words in our moment of the day.
We are 325 million opinionated, vociferous individuals. We have always had so much more in common with each other than in disagreement.
Hey, I'm Natalie Ndongo for CBC Montreal, and today we're behind the scenes with Quebec singer-songwriter Matt Halabowski, leading up to his first ever Osheaga performance. It all started, though, at 9:30 this morning at the band's rehearsal space to load up the truck.
Morning.
Yes, that's right. I'm Natalia.
Hey, Simon. Captain Ambrosia.
You guys are coming on one side, I'm coming on another side, but we'll find each other.
Awesome.
And we'll be with each other all day.
Sounds good.
All right. See you soon.
See you there.
Bye.
Bye.
So we're headed to the VIP area right now to go meet Matt, and this is the beauty and challenge of being at Osheaga. We're following Matt Halabowski, but we can't go everywhere he can go. You've been doing all these performances in different contexts, in different cities, different countries, and then you come home and you're going to do like pretty much the biggest weekend, one of the biggest weekends
pressure.
of the summer.
You know, there's a mixture of things. I was a little stressed out this week because I have a lot of friends coming to this. You know, most of my friends are from Montreal, and so you have a lot of people who have been sort of following the trajectory since, you know, playing in bonfires and just like kind of hanging out at house parties, sort of randomly jamming and up to here. So there's definitely that kind of pressure when you have your friends and family and stuff that come check it out, and you have all the big media and all that stuff. But that being said, it's just a show like any other. I mean, like the stage is huge, but it's a 2 p.m. thing, you know, like there's not going to be 50,000 people, you know, so it's like the pressure is a little different.
So we've been hanging out with Matt all day, and one thing he doesn't know, he's about to get a really special award. He's going to get a gold certificate from Audiogram, the label he signed to. And what does that mean? It means that he's hit 40,000 units of sale in Quebec for his record Solitudes, and it's going to be really cool. So we're waiting for him to come and actually learn that people love him and that he got this award. Gold, that's a big deal.
You knew about this, huh? Hey, how you doing?
All
Tonight on The National, actor and Me Too leader Rose McGowan is trying to distance herself from another prominent member of the movement, Asia Argento, who you saw there. Argento herself is facing allegations, and in a statement, McGowan suggested she wasn't telling the truth when she denied having sex with actor Jimmy Bennett. He's accused Argento of sexually assaulting him when he was 17 and she was 37. In McGowan's statement, she called on Argento to be honest and to, quote, be the person you wish Harvey Weinstein could have been. Well, this is some pretty dramatic surveillance video of an apparent home invasion this weekend, just west of Montreal. It was around 2 in the morning yesterday. A woman says she was startled awake to find 2 men in her house demanding money.
It was terrifying. There was 2 men dressed in black in hoods that were right there. One of them grabbed me by the throat, and the other one came behind me and grabbed me by the hair, and then they dragged me.
After being pinned to the ground, she says she convinced the men to let her get up to get her wallet. She then made a run for the door and flagged down a car on the street. When police arrived, the thieves were gone. An investigation is underway. And a judge has sided with Tesla in its case against the Ontario government. Tesla had accused the Ontario PCs of discriminating against them when the government canceled its electric vehicle rebate program. The problem, they argued, was that other car companies were part of a transition program, which allowed customers to still get rebates for a certain period of time. But Tesla was left out. The government says it'll make a decision in the coming days on how to proceed.
The wait is over for Canadian fans, and the dream is now a reality for Brooke Henderson.
Well, there you go. That was a golden moment for Ontario's Brooke Henderson. Yesterday, she won the Canadian Women's Open, the first Canadian to do so in 45 years, which, of course, explains the celebrations. So that's Dad and Mom doing the champagne honors, and caught in the bubbly blast, her sister Brittany, also her caddy. Brooke Henderson has shot to prominence at just age 20, but this was no overnight success.
Good ball flight.
Before she turned pro 4 years ago, she was the world's top-ranked female amateur golfer. She was named the Canadian Press Female Athlete of the Year for 2015 and again in 2017. Yesterday's historic win marked Henderson's 7th victory on the LPGA circuit, and it earned her just under $450,000, which means she is now 1 win away from tying the record for the most professional golfing wins ever by any Canadian. She signed a number of sponsorship deals with major companies. All signs point to a brilliant career ahead. And earlier today, I spoke with Brooke Henderson from Calgary. Okay, so firstly, congratulations, Brooke. And tell us, if you can, what did the best moment of yesterday actually feel like?
Yeah, I would have to say walking up 18 after I hit my approach shot, I kind of finally could take a deep breath and kind of relax a little bit and know that I had finally won this. And, the smile on my face when I knew I had hit it that close was watching it over, it just means so much, and it just felt so good because, I'd wanted this for so long, and I dreamt of hoisting up this trophy for Canada, and to finally be able to do it. The way I did it yesterday, birdieing 5 of my last 9 holes was really, really awesome, and it was really a dream come true.
Can you tell us a story about who planted this golf seed with you, and when the moment was that a little voice said, this is more than a sport, maybe this could be my life?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to, growing up, my sister played golf and my dad was always hanging out with her, so I thought it was really fun, and I just loved being out on the golf course with them for hours. And, just growing up like that, we've it's like a family tradition almost, just to go out and play a round of golf, and, to have my dad still as my coach and my sister as my caddy, and my mom, my #1 supporter, always there cheering me on. And it's just they made it really fun for me to enjoy the game, and then I grew to love it. And, when I was 14, I won a pro event in Quebec and earned an exemption into the Canadian Women's Open. And as a 14-year-old, playing against the best players in the world on Canada's biggest stage, it was a really eye-opening experience. And I feel like there I kind of learned that if I continued to work hard and continued on the path that I was on, maybe I could, turn pro and play on the LPGA Tour as a living.
I think the thing is most young athletes dream of a huge scholarship, and you got one, but you said no to it. Why was it so important for you to lobby to go pro at that point?
Oh yeah, I loved the University of Florida, and I was able to commit to them when I was just 16 years old, so it was really cool. And when I was in grade 8, I painted my whole room orange, green, and blue because I was just such a huge Gator fan. And then it just came to the point where I was the #1 amateur in the world, and I felt like there was nowhere else I could really go in the amateur world, and I needed to go pro to continue to push myself and get to the next level.
Brooke, we have lots of people in the office who are total golf fans, and they all said, ask her about the grip. Why does Brooke Henderson choke up on that grip so much, and how many coaches have tried to say, cut it out?
Yeah, for sure. A lot have tried to change it for sure, but it's just something that I started doing when I was really young, that 3 or 4-year-old little girl that was trying to learn how to play golf. I just did it, and nobody really changed it. Same with my swing, it hasn't really changed that much since I was that young little girl. It's just kind of slowly got more consistent and a little bit stronger, but that grip, it worked. It's a lot more accurate for me. I've tried to lengthen it out a little bit, but I'm very accurate with it, consistent, and it feels good. So I feel like that's all that really matters.
So over this weekend, Bryson DeChambeau picked up, let's have a look at this, $1.6 million.
Perfection really here at the Northern Trust, taking the title. Bryson DeChambeau by 4.
So your win, Brooke, less than that, but still huge. What's it going to take, though, for the women's game to get the attention and the sponsorship of the men's game?
Oh, that's a good question, and people are always asking that. I feel like the LPGA is doing a great job, and the women's game is continuing to grow every single year, and it's getting stronger. The LPGA, I feel like it's the strongest it has ever really been. Players from all over the world are coming out and competing, and we're all pushing each other to be better, and I feel like it's probably going to be a slow process, but we're getting there. You just got to kind of stay patient and keep trying to push the limits.
I guess one last thing, what should we be looking out for the next time we see you play?
Well, I'm hopefully just finish the season off really strong. Maybe another win before it's over. That would be amazing. But, I feel like my main goal now is to race to the CME Globe, which I moved up quite a bit in that. But as long as I'm in the top 6 come November, I have a chance to win $1 million. So that would be pretty fun.
Brooke, thanks very much.
Cool. Thank you.
So Henderson's next big win could come sooner than you might think. She's playing this weekend at the Portland Classic in Oregon, a tournament she won in 2015 and 2016.
And now we all feel like big underachievers. It could still be a while before Cape Breton family will want to sit down together for dinner. The woman suing her nephew over a Chase the Ace jackpot was in court today. Remember this pair? Last month, Barb Reddick and her nephew, Tyrone McInnes, split the $1.2 million jackpot. She says she paid for the ticket but asked him to buy it, even getting him to put his name on the ticket for good luck. And there's the rub.
Chase the Ace winners is going to court. I'm taking him to court. It was my ticket.
Reddick says she never agreed to split the winnings.
I bought the ticket. And now he's trying to lie and say I said split. I said split with the 50-50.
Today, a judge ruled McInnes cannot spend his half of the jackpot until the case is resolved. Reddick is free to spend hers. And outside the court, last month's anger seemed replaced by sadness.
You broke my heart. Yeah.
The court set a settlement conference for next month.
For all of its weaponry, the toughest battle the F-18 Hornet may ever have to face is the barrage of poor publicity it's now attracting. Its costs have been climbing, and some media reports have described the Hornet as a lemon. There have even been suggestions the U.S. government might cancel the whole 18 program. Earlier this year, the U.S. General Accounting Office, which audits the 18 program, blasted the plane. It and other reports have charged that it was nearly a ton overweight, Its undercarriage was faulty. It had problems of drag, reduced engine thrust, range, and its acceleration was below specifications. There were other problems, none of which pleased the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps, which planned to buy over 1,300 of the planes. For Canada, the question has become immediate. Just how good is this plane? And here one enters a vastly complicated air industry world.
The first batch of pre-production model F-18s are being put through their paces here at the Patuxent Naval Air Test Center in Maryland. And according to some in the industry, that is part of the plane's PR problems. For there are many in the U.S. Navy who wish the 18 had never come along at all.
An influential lobby in the Navy would rather spend its budget for aircraft on more of these spectacular Grumman F-14 Tomcats, the world's best air interceptor. George Spangenberg is a retired head of U.S. Naval Air Evaluation, one of America's top experts on Navy planes. He's just one voice complaining that the 18 has been forced on a reluctant Navy.
We fought it off for about 3 years, and then eventually we were overwhelmed and told to buy it or else. And then the syndrome becomes, well, it's better than nothing, which may or may not be true.
In Congress, there are other voices. Many are horrified by the plane's rising cost. Democrat Bruce Vento of Minnesota has been a constant critic of the 18.
This plane is not an outstanding plane. There's nothing unusual about it. We build other planes that are equally as good. The fact is this plane was supposed to be a low-cost plane, and since it isn't achieving that particular mark, I think it's quite realistic to reframe our objectives in terms of what we purchase.
But there are also indications the 18's baptism of fire has been harsher than is justified. The U.S. Navy officially says it's now happy with the 18 and recent improvements. In St. Louis, McDonnell Douglas Vice President Joe Waldner says the corrections were relatively simple. He complains the 18 may have been smeared in part by competitors and insists some of the program has exceeded specifications.
The accuracy of the navigation system is 3 times better than specification. The reliability of the airplane, even at this very early stage, is proving to be twice as good as what the Navy currently has in the fleet.
McDonnell Douglas test pilots have put in nearly 2,000 hours on the 18 and praise its reliability and ease of maintenance.
I have about 150 flight hours in the Hornet at this time, and I guess it's hard to isolate the good points into one single statement. I'd say it's probably the best, has the best aircraft engine that's ever been put in a fighter or tech airplane, bar none. The airplane is in fact flying as we intended it to fly. The problems that we knew were there, we are finding, and the good aspects that we knew are there, we are finding. And our goal of an easy airplane to fly, which we feel is the most important facet of a modern airplane, is the goal that we are definitely achieving. And this is really paramount to anything else.
It now seems unlikely the 18 will be canceled, and even many of its critics concede that in time it should turn out to be a good plane.
About 7 weeks to go until pot is legal right across the country. The date's coming fast, but there are still so many unanswered questions. One of the big ones, could it really break the black market? Well, for a lesson or two, Briar Stewart headed to Colorado this past spring because it was one of the first states down south to go legal. Yet, all this time later, 4 years on, it's the center of a drug war.
You good? Are you loaded in that 37? No, I haven't loaded yet. I'm going to load the single shot.
I appreciate you guys all coming out for the briefing. Please give your full attention to all of us here.
What's up?
For the Sheriff's Office in Teller County, Colorado, this is number 8.
So I'll just follow you to that corner when you're good to go?
Yep.
The 8th time this heavily armed convoy has moved in on a suspected illegal grow operation. Because in the land of legal weed, the black market is booming like it never was before.
the biggest pot bust in state history.
Hundreds of pounds of pot confiscated during that raid.
This was an apparent illegal grow operation with dozens and dozens of plants.
And most of that illegal pot is being grown by highly organized criminal rings and smuggled out of state.
Yeah, it's quite nice. It's really tucked away back here.
Nice homes, good people, and then right in the mix, you're going to find a cartel operation.
Sheriff Jason Mikesell thought he was done with his days in law enforcement, but says he came out of retirement.
And that's really what we're trying to get after, is that darkness.
When he saw just how much marijuana ended up in his rural community after legalization.
It was really billed in the beginning as it's a medical piece. It's here to help people. It's going to bring in a lot of tax money. And it was going to stop the illegal black market trade of marijuana.
And what's happened?
What we've seen, Briar, is now that illegal black market is so large that it's on every street corner. It's in every community.
All right, starting again. Sometimes it's hidden in plain sight. In this never-before-shared video, an agent with the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration goes from room to room in a warehouse in Denver that's brimming with marijuana plants, all of them grown under the guise of a legitimate medical marijuana facility. There were official-looking clipboards and schedules, but tucked away, a bulletproof vest. This is one of 13 warehouses that was part of this operation, and the group behind it was earning more than $1 million each month. All of that pot was being driven and flown out of state in a private plane. When police moved in, they arrested 32 people.
Colorado has basically become the marijuana capital of the United States, where you find drug trafficking organizations moving here from all over the country, setting up shop in Colorado, and then sending black market marijuana back to their home states where they can sell it at incredible profit.
DEA agent Paul Roach says they've been able to do that by exploiting Colorado's laws. When the state opened the door to legal pot in 2012, it introduced generous rules for growing your own, and many are. The Denver police estimate that in the city, marijuana is grown in 1 in 10 homes. The rules allowed each person to grow up to 6 plants, and they could pool them together in large co-ops. Medical patients could grow up to 99. The rules made it hard for authorities to crack down on those growing and selling it illegally.
We're finding many organizations are setting up shop in federal lands, in national park lands and federal lands, and they're setting up vast marijuana grows. We find many of these, but who knows how many we're not finding.
And not all of that pot is being shipped out of Colorado. Even in a state where there are more dispensaries than McDonald's and Starbucks combined, a cannabis consumers group estimates that as many as 50% of users are doing their shopping elsewhere. Some of those local sellers have moved online into the murky world of internet marijuana sales, where they promise lower prices and anonymity. We contacted more than 60 people who were selling marijuana online in Colorado. Now, most of them didn't get back to us. Some of them did, but said they'd only talk to us if we agreed to pay them, which of course we don't do. But there were a few, however, who decided to share with us just how they operate in the black market here.
Wall of weed.
This seller wouldn't do an interview, but had no problem sending us a video showing off his stash, even showing his face. Others were more careful, saying they would only talk if we didn't identify them.
This is G4. It's a sativa hybrid. So
this father of 2 runs a delivery service. In the world of illegal weed, you could call it skip the dispensary.
You know, just like your pizza, I guarantee you less than an hour. I've had nurses that contact me via the internet, and they are looking to purchase and have a delivery brought to their home or their office or wherever they feel comfortable, just like you would have your groceries or anything else readily accessible for you. Some of those people include truckers.
On a day when he's going full out, he can make between $400 and $500.
On a good day that I've ran all day, I mean, there's been times where I didn't sleep. You know, my phone's right by my ear. It rings and I'm up.
But he says he turns down business if he's suspicious of the would-be buyer.
Given that what you're doing is illegal, I mean, how concerned are you about police and investigators?
I'm quite concerned about it. There's risk of cops, but I've had people sit right there in your seat where you're at with the gun to my head, you know? It's a risk. It's definitely a risk.
Because you never know just who you're dealing with.
I'm not going to allow these organizations to destroy my community.
Remember Sheriff Mike Sell? Well, he had an SUV that he wanted to sell, so in December, he posted it on Craigslist, and he got an offer, 4 pounds of pot.
Yeah. Oh, this is my friend. I'm sorry, man. He drove me here just in case the deal goes. Then he's going to give me a ride home. My bad. I should have said that. The deal's going to go. You're going to love it. Right on.
When the buyer showed up to make the sale, officers were waiting for them with cameras rolling. They were both charged with distribution of marijuana.
That was a very interesting case for us. It really opened up an understanding of how big this market is.
They're using it for currency.
Using it as currency. So it's the new cash.
In Teller County, officials have banned recreational dispensaries, but illegal pot is still everywhere, along with a slew of trashed rental homes and weapons that the cartels have also brought in.
Never would we have thought that we would have this issue going on in our community.
Sheriff Mike Sell warns other jurisdictions not to legalize, but if they choose to go down that road, he says, they must learn from Colorado's mistakes.
Make sure that you have all your laws in place before you force it in. Because if you don't, the weight of what you allow to begin, the way Colorado did in the beginning, will crush your state.
This year, Colorado's government introduced new legislation to try to crack down on all the illegal growing and smuggling. New rules now restrict just how many plants residents and medical marijuana patients can grow in one place. This has given authorities more power, but it's difficult to play catch-up.
In Teller County alone, we know that we have another 60 to 70 marijuana houses within Teller County we haven't got to yet.
On this raid, the sheriff's team was about 2 days too late. Inside, all they found was some dodgy electrical wiring, grow lights, mildew, and mold. There was even a crib suggesting a baby lived here. But everyone was gone, and so was all that pot, still destined to be sold somewhere on the black market. Briar Stewart, CBC News in Teller County, Colorado.
Tonight's moment is coming up next, but first, an update on 11-year-old Sofia Sanchez, who we told you about last week. She got one birthday wish when rapper Drake canceled the Toronto concert to meet her while she awaited a heart transplant. And now?
And my other wish is to get a heart.
Yeah?
She's gonna happen soon.
Well, guess what? It happened today. You're getting a heart. Congratulations!
I'm getting a heart, Mom!
Yes, baby. I know.
So the transplant took place this morning, and after a 9-hour operation, the Chicago hospital says it went very well. Sofia is now back in her room, recovering.
Let's look at how one of Canada's most naturally diverse provinces, British Columbia, will change in just 3 decades. Now, we could show you the worst case scenario if we do nothing to curb our greenhouse gas emissions, or the best case scenario if everything goes according to the Paris Agreement plans. But let's stick to a middle of the road scenario. Temperatures have risen by an annual average of 2.5 degrees in BC. In the interior and the north, there's even larger variability. Vancouver sees more than double the number of days above 25 degrees than it did in the 2010s, and about 15% less rain in the summers. The growing season in the Lower Mainland has expanded by 6 weeks. There's a 30% drop in frost days in the Okanagan Valley by 2050. That means winters aren't cold enough to keep the pests at bay. By 2050, we'll be facing more fires and more disasters like the wildfire that ripped through Fort McMurray, Alberta, destroying homes and displacing nearly 90,000 people. The fire season may increase by 30 to 50 days in the interior. Our seasons play out differently too. Warmer, wetter winters across the province have meant our snowpack has dropped dramatically year after year. by 2050, a quarter of BC's glaciers have melted. Hitting the slopes has become a rare luxury. And that has big implications for our water supply. We will see more rain. The rainiest day of the year could be 10% wetter. But even though there is less snow and more rain, it's coming too fast. The spring melt is sudden. Flash floods and mudslides are an even greater risk. Pineapple Express soakers from the Pacific will come much more often and hit harder. And a warming ocean means that sea levels have risen by 30 centimeters in 2050. If we don't spend billions of dollars on infrastructure to protect our coastal communities, places like Richmond, the Vancouver International Airport, the Tsawwassen Ferry Terminal will all be underwater after just one bad storm. Parts of Vancouver's iconic seawall need to be rebuilt, and beaches like Wreck Beach and Jericho have washed away. Fish species have had to migrate dozens of kilometers north every decade as their traditional territories become too warm. Like your sushi, Pacific salmon catch may decrease by 30% by 2050. Here are some economic figures to consider. If we do absolutely nothing, the projected cost of damage to BC because of climate change is $32 billion. It would cost us $10 billion, however, to upgrade our infrastructure like dikes and levees to protect against that $32 billion price tag. We'd still be ahead by $22 billion. 2.5 degrees might not sound like a huge increase, right? But it means that the extremes we're seeing now will become the new normals in just 3 decades. And that has huge implications for how we build our cities, what we grow, and the natural biodiversity of our province. But how well we fare in 2050 and beyond depends on what we do today.
Looking for a special summer getaway?
Here we are in New Denmark, New Brunswick.
Join Johnny Harris for an exclusive episode.
The oldest Danish community in Canada. I think all Canadians at some point have felt the Danish heritage, whether it be feasting on a flaky pastry or stepping on a Lego block in the middle of the night. This is New Denmark, New Brunswick.
Stream this exclusive episode of Still Standing. Available September 4th, only on the CBC TV app. Johnny's back. Still Standing. Returns September 18th on CBC.
Call my mom.
Earlier in the program, you heard some of John McCain's final message, written in a letter, but read aloud by Rick Davis, McCain's former campaign strategist. We've heard a lot of stories about John McCain since his passing this weekend, stories about his will to survive as a prisoner of war, about his political successes, and some of his failures. But tonight, we want to leave you with McCain's own words. His heartfelt message of hope is our moment of the day.
These are John's final words. Fellow Americans, that association has meant more to me than any other. I lived and died a proud American. We are 325 million opinionated, vociferous individuals. We argue and compete. We have always had so much more in common with each other than in disagreement. If only we remember that and give each other the benefit of the presumption that we all love our country. 10 years ago, I had the privilege to concede defeat in the election for president. I want to end my farewell to you with heartfelt faith in Americans that I felt so powerfully that evening. I feel it powerfully still. Do not despair of our present difficulties. We believe always in the promise and greatness of America.
And so in one of those final shots we saw there, that is the desk of John McCain in the Senate, draped in black and with a vase of white flowers. That's customary when a senator dies. And I think uniquely in these situations, we see politicians try to set politics aside as well.
Well, it's interesting. He had so many friends. We've heard in the last few days from Republicans and Democrats. And you know, it's been interesting to hear Americans talk about how the one thing John McCain sort of taught them is that it's possible to respectfully disagree with each other. You can actually have these conversations, which are, you know, starting to feel more and more rare.
I'm going to steal some words from the chief White House correspondent from the New York Times, Peter Baker, who said yesterday he was remarkable, not because he was perfect, but because he knew that he wasn't. Right. That's The National for August 27th. Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.